Hey, boys and girls. Today I'm going to read the book Me, Jane. It's by Patrick McDonald. And this book won the Caldecott Book Award. You'll probably see that on some of your books. And each year, one book is chosen to win the Caldecott Award. Usually, I agree that it's a very good book, and this is one of them that I really like. Okay, Me, Jane. Let me close the window. You can see a little better. Okay, Me, Jane, and this is about Jane Goodall. Jane had a stuffed toy chimpanzee named Jubilee. She cherished Jubilee and took him everywhere she went. And Jane loved to be outside. So this is Jane as a child. And I'm reading the text that's on the other page. It has some drawings in the background. She watched birds making their nests, spiders spinning their webs, and squirrels chasing one another up and down trees. Jane learned all that she could about the animals and plants in her backyard and read about in books. Now, remember, this is a stuffed animal. That's not a real monkey sitting there with her. Okay, now this page is kind of cool. This is a thing she came up with when she's a child called the Alligator Society, and these are some things that she drew. So she's got a wild bird puzzle. She got a photograph of a crocodile or an alligator, excuse me. Here's a drawing she did of an alligator. Here's some animal drawings. Just some things that she drew in her diary. One day, curious Jane wondered where eggs came from. So she and Jubilee snuck into Grandma Nut's chicken coop. They hid behind some straw and stayed very still and observed a miracle. What was the miracle that they observed? An egg. It was a magical world full of joy and wonder, and Jane felt very much a part of it. She often climbed her favorite tree, which she named Beech, and she would lay her cheek against its trunk and seem to feel the sap flowing beneath the bark. So a beech tree is a type of tree, and she named this tree the beech tree, and she would get so close to the tree that she felt like she could feel the sap. Now, could she really? Probably not, but she felt like she could. Jane could feel her own heart beating. With the wind in her hair, she read and reread the books about Tarzan of the Apes, in which another girl, also named Jane, lived in the jungles of Africa. So just to be clear, her name is Jane, but she did not live with Tarzan. That is in a book. Jane dreamed of life in Africa. So on this page, she's in the tree reading. On this page, there's giraffes and elephants and a tiger. Is that really happening? No, she's dreaming or thinking about life in Africa. A life living with and helping animals. Again, she's still dreaming. There's Jubilee, her pet, her stuffed animal pet. At night, Jane would tuck Jubilee into bed, say her prayers, and fall asleep to awake one day. Now watch what happened from this page. She's a young girl with her stuffed animal. What's different on this page? She's in a tent and she's a little bit older. It says to awake one day to her dream come true. So this is actually the real Jane Goodall, who the whole book's about, and this is her with chimpanzees in Africa. All right. About Jane Goodall. I'm going to read this page to you. When Jane Goodall was 10 years old, she decided that when she grew up, she would go to Africa and live with the animals and write about them. Oops, I went the wrong way. Almost everyone told her this goal was impossible. Her family had little money, and she was a girl in a time when girls were not encouraged to pursue adventurous careers. But her mother encouraged her to follow her dreams. When Jane finished school, she continued to learn about Africa and worked hard to save enough money to go there. She finally arrived in 1957, and she met famed anthropologist Louis Leakey and began studying chimpanzees at the Gombe Stream Game Reserve, now known as the Gombe Stream National Park in Tanzania in 1960. One of Jane's most important observations was the discovery that chimpanzees are able to make and use tools. Until this time, experts thought only humans were able to do so. But based on Jane's remarkable studies, the world was forced to rethink what makes humans different from animals. She wrote about these discoveries and countless other observations in her 1986 book, The Chimpanzees of the Gombe: Patterns of Behavior. Today, Jane travels around the world raising awareness about the plight. Do you remember this word from the book about, I think it was Henry's Freedom Box, or it might have been the Abe Lincoln story. It's the bad time of chimpanzees and environmental conservation. Human populations are growing, and forests in Africa where chimpanzees live are being cut down, and chimps and other animals are being hunted for food. She set up the Jane Goodall Institute, an organization that helps communities near wild places grow more food. They have clean water and send children to school while also teaching people how to protect the nearby wildlife. Jane Goodall's Roots and Shoots program has been set up to educate young people everywhere about the world's environmental and social problems and empower them to take action. This growing organization operates in more than 120 countries, and there are tens of thousands of members ranging in age from preschoolers to university students. And you can go to these two websites, rootsandshoots.org and janegoodall.org, to learn more. And there's a drawing made by Jane Goodall of her life in the forest in the Gombe Stream Game Reserve.